Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn 5.4 two-way table, which is contingency table, right? Contingency table and conditional probability. So we are learning contingency table, conditional probability, but we had a little bit experience last section, right? So what is the probability of F given E, right? So I'm reading this one. That means we denote with a vertical line. That is, let me write down. This is conditional event, conditional event. And this is main event. And this book indicates that very nicely, right? So number of ways F happens with E. So E already happens. Then the formula I introduced you in the last section. So how do we do? What's the formula for this one? Probability of event E and F. So we have N part. That means overlap, right? Overlap. Missing L. Overlap of E and F. Yeah. Overlapping with E and F. And then we divide by probability of event E. Yeah. Okay. All right. Then let's do this example. So we have example. We want to find student is earning A given they are taking English, right? So every time we have given that is already happened, event E, right? Okay, then we have the formula here. I cannot think well. Formula here, right? So what's the probability of event E? So we can indicate that since we have a frequency, we can also say that it's a number of, let me denote N as a number, or we can say the number. Either way, we can use that, right? So number of, or number of, right? And event E and F divided by number of event E. Yeah, makes sense? If the information gives us frequency, then we can use the number of. If the information gives us probability, we are using probability as it is, right? Okay, now let's do A part. Again, so given they are taking English, right? So this is the event E, which is already happened, right? Or we can say that conditional probability, right? And this is the main event. We want to find out main probability earning A who is taking English, right? Given condition. Make sense? All right, let's do it. A. Okay, what's the probability of earning A, right? A, given that taking English, right? Make it short. All right, there will be number of, or N, number of, just the first letter, number, A. I mean, N. Number of overlap E and F. So, number of E and F, English, taking English, and earning A, right? Over Then we bring down every number E, right? So there will be number of English, taking English, right? Okay, so it's so hard to memorize the formula, right? I mean, you can use all the formula by open book, right? It's okay. But then I just want to know that we can just do writing out this one, and top will be overlap. Both will be there, right? Make sense to you? Easy to remember, isn't it? Easily to remember. So overlap. Yeah, overlap. Okay. So let's make a denominator first. What's the number of taking English, right? So we are reading this part, which is 18, right? And we are reading, hold on 1 second, let me write down first. Okay, overlap, English and, English, take the English and getting A. So, take the English, this part, make highlight. And then getting A, this part, which one is overlap? Shading to both colors, right? That's the overlap. So that will be this one, yeah. So number 8 there, right? So 8. Now, can you please calculate? 0.4444? Yeah, thank you. Okay, let us do the second part. Let me make it smaller so that we can see the question B. All right, so again, earning A, probability of earning A, given that not taking English. In that case, I have to write down not taking English. Yeah. Okay, so there will be overlap, numerator, so number of not taking English and getting A, right? Over, we bring down this one, not taking English, right? So number of not taking English. Yeah, so this is overlap. Yeah. Okay, what number is this? This will be the denominator first, not taking English. Oh, I have to erase. Sorry about that. Not taking English, 22. And overlap, not taking English and getting A, right? So getting A here. So this number shaded with the 2 colors, right? So 8. Oh, 8 again? Yeah. Coincidence, right? 8. All right. What do you have? 0.3636. Okay, good. Let me write down here. 0.3636. Okay, now we have a C part. C is a little bit different because we have A or B, right? Yeah. So we had A or B. That means we just add them, right? Okay, but then in that case, it's contingency table. But then A or B is a disjoint, right? So we can just add them. There's no takeaway overlapping part, right? Yeah, A or B, disjoint. Okay, then we have a what did I say earlier? Contingency? In that case, conditional probability, they are taking English, right? So given that condition, we want to know about the probability. All right. So I forgot to tell you, right? So conditional probability. Now I remember. So the probability is given by the condition. Yeah. Or we can say that the probability change depends on the conditional event. Yeah. Okay. C part, let's do that. C. We still can see that C. All right. So let me erase. A or B. So let me make it shorter so that we can see the question. C. What's the probability earning A or B given that they are taking English course, right? Yeah. Okay. So we bring down, right? So it's a number of taking English, right? And then overlap. So number of A or B. Number of A or, sorry, English, and because I want to make a consistent, right? So take E first, English, and earning or A or B, right? Okay. Yeah, you can see here. So let me bring a little bit over. All right, so let's do denominator first. Number of English, we did that earlier, right? So taking English course, we have 18. Let me make English 18. So we have 18 there. Okay. Normally we had shading one column, right? Earning A, right? But then we have a earning A or B, right? So we're gonna shade here this column, also this column too, right? Make sense? Because we have or part, A or B. Yeah, we have to a little bit be careful, right? So or, oh, there's no highlighting. So A or B. So taking English, A or B, so we add A plus 6. Make sense? Okay, so A plus 6, we have 14 over 18. Can you please calculate? Yeah, thank you. 0.7778. Excellent. Okay, let's do D. What's the D says? Is they change the phrase, right? So taking English, given they are earning on earning on A. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. The probability of main event taking English, and conditional is given they are earning on A, right? Okay, so this one will be number of getting A, right? And then overlap. So earning A and taking English, right? Sorry, different color. Okay. So earning A, how many are there? So earning A will be 16. And earning A and English, taking English, right? So that will be different color, taking English. So overlap is 8, right? So 8. So what do you get? 0.5? Good. Okay, very good. Okay, let's do the second question. And we had this kind of a question earlier. Okay, in that case, it's contingency, yeah, contingency table with conditional probability, right? Okay, let us do that. The first one, the main, which is what's the probability of major factor, given that they are white. Yeah, then this will be number of white because of frequency, and then overlap, right? Overlap there. So number of white and major factor. Yeah. Okay. Now the white first, denominator first. Here, right? So 2997 there. So 2997 and overlap. So I have to color it. So white there. Then white and major factor. So major factor is there. So this column and this row 120 number, right? So 120. There is overlap. Now, can you please calculate 2997, correct, right? So 0.04. 0.0400. Put the 00, that's fine. Okay, so second one, very similar. So let us do that. Probability of major factor, given that black. So number of black and overlap. So that would be black and major factor. Okay, so black, which is that column. So 1518, and then overlap black and major factor here. Oh, different colors. Major factor. So overlap is 273, right? So 273. Okay, now can you please calculate? 0.1798. Good. Okay. CD, similar. CD, yeah, let's do CD. I need, I need this chart, CD, right? All right, so let us do see here. What's the probability of not be a factor? Not a factor, given that white. Oops. So this is number of white, and then overlap here. So number of white and not a factor, right? Okay, then one number for white. So white is here, 2997. And white and not factor. So overlap part is 2338, right? Okay. Calculate. 0.7801. Let me, yeah, different number, right? Yeah. Okay, so D, very similar with the C part. Not be a factor, given that non-white. So that will be number of non-white and overlap. So non-white, number of non-white and not factor. Yeah, no space. Okay. There will be non-white. Let me write first. What did I say? Non-white, right? Okay, non-white. Oh, okay. Look, we don't have a non-white, but we learned that, right? So let's talk about this. Yeah. Note non-white. So we have the number, right? So 1 minus number of white, right? We can do that. So 1 minus Is it 1 minus? No, right? We're not doing probability, so we can make white, yeah, from the total. Sorry about that. Total minus white, then we get non-white. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. So total we have 6,000. I'm reading that column. Okay, so you can see here. Total I read earlier 6,421 there, right? So 6,421 minus white. This is the white part, white, right? So 2,009 and yeah, 997, right? So 997, then we get 3,424. Okay, so that will be, let me make it smaller, 3,424. Okay, how about the overlap, right? So we have to make a non-white and not factor, right? Okay, so non-white, and non, that's non-white, not a factor, right? Not a factor, yeah? So those number will be, right? But then what's the smart way we can do, right? So 4,527 minus that, then we get this number, right? Make sense? Okay, let me write down. So, let me write down. So number of non-white and non-factor. Yeah, there will be total of not a factor minus non-white. I mean white. White. Sorry, my brain cannot think today. Yeah, so that will be the total in that case is 4,527 minus white 2,338. Then we get 2,189. Yeah, that is the one. Then can you please calculate? Yeah. All right. So that will be 0.6393. Is okay? Okay, let's take a look the last question. How much more likely is non-white individual to feel that race, ethnicity should be major factor than white individual, right? Okay, so let's compare major factor versus non-white, white. Okay, the last one, what was it? E, right? E. E. So what's the probability major factor given that non-white and over probability of major factor given that white, right? Okay, so in that case, we can use probability because we already found in, let's talk about denominator first. So major factor, given that y, from the A part, we had point major factor given the y, right? So 0.0400. Okay, then numerator, major factor, non-white, we did that here. Hold on 1 second. Major factor, non-white. Well, I thought we have one, but we don't have one, so we need to find one. Sorry about that. Okay, so let us do this. What's the probability major factor given that non-white? We have to do that, sorry. Note major factor given non-white. So there will be denominator non-white, right? So non-white from the D 3,424, right? Yeah. Okay. How about major factor overlap? It's the different with the D, right? D earlier, not factor, not major factor, right? But this is a major factor, non-white. So we have to, same concept, same process, but pick the different column, right? Major factor in that case. Let's do it. Okay, so major factor overlap, major factor, but then we need non-white, right? So we need this one actually, right? This one. But then if we make 609 minus 120, we get that, right? Make sense? Once again, 609 minus 120, we get the non-white. I mean, non-major. I mean, major factor, non-white. Make sense? Let me write down. Major factor, non-white. 609 minus 120. Yeah, major factor, non-white. Major factor, yeah, non-white. So there will be 609 minus 120. We get 489. Yeah, major factor, that's overlap, right? So, okay, how about this? I want to make a range a little bit. $489 overlap. Yeah, okay. That is non-white, right? Non-white, we know. Okay, so this is overlap of major factor and non-white. So total of major factor minus white. There's 489. Yeah, it's okay. So we have that. Then, can you please calculate 489 divided by 3,424, which is 0.1428? So we have 0.1428. Yeah. Okay. Then we still can calculate. What do you get? 3.6. Okay, what this mean? This means we have a major factor given that non-white over the probability of major factor given that white, right? That is 3.6. That means non-white person is about 3.6 times more likely to think than statement. Race or ethnicity should be major factor in college admission. Sorry, admissions than white person. Okay, let me write down what I talked. Okay, so like what we just did that example, we have a terminology relative risk. So this means the risk means, let me highlight, risk comes from example in which we compare the risk factors such as race or job type or like a heart disease or lung disease, mental disease, like risk factors, risk as it is, yeah? So we had earlier, right? So A given or C, that is, we had earlier, the numerator has non-white, the denominator has white, with same A, which is major factor, right? Okay. Okay, now we have N part. Let's take a look. So recall the probability, the formula. If we have N part, what is the probability of E and F? What is probability of E and F? We just overlap, right? E and F? Oops. So overlap. That means, right? Think E and F over number of sample space, yeah? Okay, then what is the probability of E and F? That is multiplication rule. We are using it here. So multiplication rule. What's the probability of E and F? Then probability E multiplied by probability of, yeah, we have also other one too, right? So, in the multiplication, we have another one too, actually. Let me write down. E and F. So independent, right? Independent event. Then we get probability of event E times probability of event F, right? Okay, this one, not disjoint, right? Not disjoint, no, not independent. Dependent event, right? Dependent event. So dependent event. Independent event means one outcome, the event of one outcome does not affect the other event of outcome, right? Dependent, right? Rely on the other event of outcome. For example, dependent like a replacement, right? So think replacement. No, without replacement, huh? Let me think. Oh man, hold on one second. Yeah, without replacement, right? So without replacement. So if we have the card withdraw, right? Then, so we have 52 without replacement, then 51, 50, and so on, like that, right? So dependent, yeah. And this one is with a replacement. Multiplication, yeah. Then if we are using and there's three different types, we have to know that, right? So independent event, once again, one outcome event, outcome of event E, outcome of event E does not affect outcome of event F, yeah? For example, outcome E has rolling a dice. And event F, flip the coin. Dependent, we rely on the event, right? So, okay, so I wrote down this one, dependent event. So outcome of outcome of event E affect outcome of event F, right? So against with independent, dependent, right? Opposite of. Okay, so we have event E has the first card drawn from a card deck is queen. Event F has the second card drawn is queen, right? Okay, so what's the probability of event E? Then there will be probability of event E times probability of event F given the event E, right? So probability of event E is number of event E, which is queen, 4 queens there, and 52 card deck. Now, second card is queen, but then given the first card is queen, right? So the second event F is 3 because given that first card is queen, right? Already one queen card is taken. So out of 51. Make sense? Yeah. So we did this one in 5.3. And then I have a calculation part is 0.0045. Yeah. So this is a review about the M part. Okay, so let us do this one. M part, we have 2 questions. We want to find the P probability. Probability earning A and taking English, right? So directly using data from the table. So N part, which is overlap, right? So N, in that case, overlap. Yeah, we have 3 different of N, right? One is overlap. One is independent event, event, and yeah, I make a joke all the time, but I cannot do that in the video. So third one, dependent event, right? Yeah. All right. Notice the first one. So we can notice that earning A and taking English and just using from the table, just using overlapping. Yeah. Okay, so probability of getting A and taking English, right? So there will be number of getting A and English over number of total, right? Yeah. So frequency, that's why I put the total. So total is 40. And in that case, it's overlap, right? Overlap. Yeah. Not independent, right? So we have A and English, that means A, this part, and taking English class, this part. So overlap is this number, right? So which is 8. Can you please calculate? We get 0.2. All right. Now, second part. They say that using the multiplication rule. Yeah. So this one, we have to think whether independent or dependent, right? Yeah. So this one have to think. Oops. think. This is a real thing, right? Independent or dependent. Yeah, I put the think all the time, right? So this is real thinking. Is independent, independent. Independent, we just multiply together because there's n part, right? So we just multiply earning A times the probability of taking English, right? Independent, little bit tricky, hard, the formula here, right? So what is the probability of earning A times probability of taking English given that earning A, right? So we have to do that. What do you think? Earning A given that taking English. Dependent? Yeah, so independent event is outcome of event E does not affect outcome of event A, F. So totally different the event. Rolling A dice, flip the coin, right? Sounds like this one is dependent when they earning A, right? So they taking course, right? So taking English course, they taking not English course, other course, right? Yeah. Okay, so dependent, then we have to using that formula, right? So let me write down the formula because a little bit tough one. So we have probability of E and F. So probability of event E times probability of event F given that E, right? Okay, now probability of event E, which is getting A and taking English course, and probability of getting A, this one looks like event A, so I'm gonna write down getting A times probability of event F given that getting A, right? Okay, now there will be number of getting A over number of total. Okay, we have to think about this one, right? So this one, what we just did, the conditional probability earlier, right? So there will be the getting A will be in the bottom, right? And then overlap, right? Number of getting A and English overlap, right? All right, so what's the total in that case? It's a 40 getting A, which is a 16. 40 here, 16 there, right? A, right? Okay, 16. And getting A, 16. And getting A, so getting A, 16 there. And English, taking English, overlap, which is 8, right? Okay, simplify. We have 8 out of 40. Ah, we get the same answer, yeah. I see that, point 2, so we have the same answer. So basically, overlap, which is gives us dependent event multiplication rule, right? Yeah, this is hard, right? Just using this one. Yeah. right? Okay, so we are done for this section, very short, because we cover, you see everything? We covered a little bit of conditional probability in the last section, all right? Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.